Hey there, stackers. Welcome to Stacking Benjamins Live. That's Belinda, who has probably had too much coffee today.
If only I drank coffee, I'd be all set. I'm
I
just so
have
excited
to
to be here, Joe.
I
Yeah.
have to tell everybody that Belinda's husband, Mark, who's a hell of a guy. Mark, you and Mark sent me a T-shirt when Mark ran the Boston Marathon again, and it said a Boston Runner, right?
Yep.
Runner, AH.
Dunkin'
And,
Donuts. Yeah.
but it was the Dunkin' Donuts thing, so it was America runs on Dunkin'. I thought that should be Rosenblum's run on Dunkin'. My
He does more than I do, but yes, all good. Welcome, everybody.
I'm on this diet program. We're waiting for people to hang out with us before we get started, Belinda. I'm
Yeah.
on this diet program, and I've told Cheryl, I'm like, I got to get back on it. Now that we're not traveling, I have to get back on it. So 2 days ago, we go to buy me a new coffee maker because I just had this little travel one, and I don't want to use the Keurig anymore. And Phil, it's not for me. I want a real coffee maker. So anyway, my big holiday present I've already gotten, and it's this killer coffee maker. But we get out of Bed Bath and Beyond, 20% off coupon, by the way. Get out of Bed Bath and Beyond. And Cheryl looks at me and goes, "You mind stopping and getting a Dairy Queen?" I'm like, I just told you that I'm on this diet thing, right? And I got to get back on. And she
Yeah.
looks at me again with her puppy dog, beautiful eyes, and says, "You don't have to have any. I'll just have some." I'm like, I'm not going to sit and watch you eat Dairy Queen. Yes, we'll go to Dairy Queen. And yes, lives. She's like, you know what? We could go to Wendy's instead and get the little tiny Frosty. I'm like, that's frustrating. If I'm getting ice cream, I'm getting ice cream. So anyway, so I have ice cream, but then I'm good the rest of the day. Yesterday,
Oh.
Belinda, she goes out for a run. And then she texts me in the morning and goes, "Hey, I'm stopping to get some donuts. Do you want some donuts?" I'm like, "You're killing me." Yes, I want donuts. No, I'm not going to have any donuts. So
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So how do we get her to do the same diet plan as you do? You know, it's that accountability that goes so far.
crazy.
Yeah.
It is absolutely crazy. Hey guys, if you're with us, say hi in the comments and you can be a part of this. So here's what we're doing. Belinda and I just launched again our Stacking Benjamins Making Money Easy course. And by the way, the timing couldn't have been better. A lot of election uncertainty going on. a lot of craziness in the air. So from that standpoint, I wouldn't be surprised if a few people missed it. The fact that we started this. However, while I will say, Belinda,
There's nothing happening right now.
what are you talking about?
I'm only refreshing like every 10 seconds, but yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
But today, guess what? We might have a drug. Like, wow.
Right.
So
Yeah.
all this stuff going on. Let me tell you guys a story, which is why I think this is the perfect time for this to happen right now, is because of the fact that when I was a financial planner, I worked in an office with 20 other financial planners. And as you can imagine, you get 20 financial planners and all of our staff. At that time, I had 4 people that worked with me that were on my team. So there were 5 of us. So 20 financial planners. So you got 100 people in this office. There was always, Belinda, some swirling thing, right? Something going on that when my teammate used to go and take a smoke break, all the people that were down at smoke break always would share gossip, and she would come back every day with like the office gossip. And it was always all this stuff. And I had to make myself a screensaver, Belinda. I had to make a screensaver that said focus out. And the reason was if I focused on what was going on inside the office, number one, I have no control over any of that crap. I have no control over any. It's going to happen. It's going to swirl. I have no control. Second of all, it doesn't help me get ahead. We've done Money with Friends shows about the statistics that show that no matter who the president is, the chance of it changing your life individually this much, maybe this much. But even if it does change your life this much, you know how you for the worst, let's say,
right.
If it changes your life for the worst this much, you know what you do? You go out and you do things that make it this much better,
Right.
right? That makes you go, wow.
Right. Well, there's so much Hold on. I think you froze up for a sec. Hopefully not for everybody else.
I'll, I'll tell everybody the reason I like this launch right now is because I want you to focus on you. I want you to focus on what you can do. I want you to turn off the TV and start paying attention to your life and the people around you and making this a better holiday season. So, Belinda, that's Joe's rant. You're welcome.
I love that. I love that. Everyone be like, amen. You know? I think it's so good because, you know, in a lot of ways, it's almost like it's taken us out of our life. Like we've stopped being present to what's going on because we've distracted ourselves so much. And now that some of that is starting to get resolved, or at least some decisions are being made, and you know, we're making some progress on all of that, it's really time to refocus on all the things that you have been ignoring. And oftentimes our money is one of the most important things that we've been ignoring. And I've been thinking a lot about this, especially as the holidays are fast approaching, right? Like everything is like Black Friday already and all of that. And it's like, well, how do we make this holiday season and really this next year be different than all of the ones that have come before?
Right.
Right. And the only way that that is going to happen is if you start to do something different. And we actually, speaking of kind of dieting and exercise, so we just got a Peloton. We got in the cult. And it kind of is.
You have it set up, by the way, in the most beautiful spot in your house, because all those Peloton commercials, they're on like the top floor of some penthouse.
Ours is like the corner of our bedroom. It's not nearly as that exciting because we don't want the kids playing with it, and like we don't have the penthouse yet. So it's like without it, where are we going to put it? So anyway, you know, I just noticed this morning I've been doing it for 19 days straight, and like as soon as we got it, I just started using it and I made it a new habit for myself. So every day I've been trying to do it, whether it's 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes every day. And I feel like this whole money management thing gets so much easier when you have a system, when you know what you need to be doing each day. And it's not like, oh, I'm just going to avoid it. And believe me, I know all about avoiding. Like I have been sitting down, I have found myself at my dining room table with stacks of bills and mail. Like I could have a queen tiara for my avoiding this, but we need to resolve. I needed to resolve that at 28 because I wouldn't have been self-made millionaire at 33 if that was the life that I was leading. Right. So it's like, no matter whether you feel like you're not good at money or math, it felt like it's been painful in the past. Our approach to this whole idea of managing your money is not about painful budgeting, but it's about knowing what are the most important things to be focused on and setting up a system so that you know what you need to be doing each day, each week, each month, and that you have a plan to go and do that without all of the overthinking and the distraction that can come from that confusion.
Absolutely. And I actually have an analogy from when I was a financial planner, Belinda, but before I do that, I'm going to ask everybody who's hanging out with us, what are your money management pain points? And maybe we can talk a little bit about those. So feel free in the comments, whether you're hanging out with us on YouTube or on the Stacky Benjamins Facebook page, share if you are struggling with the pain points, whether it's in communication or it's line items or it's how to track your expenses, whatever it might be. I'd love to hear a few of your pain points. I'll tell you what Cheryl and mine consistently is. We have this wonderful budget meeting every week where we either do it over wine or pancakes, depending on what time it is.
Okay, everyone is in their mind thinking, hopefully pancakes are the morning and wine is the evening. But I'm curious what Joe does.
Right. I will not clarify that statement. But what I will say is that for us, when we miss that meeting, that's the big thing for us because we have our tracking set up well, we have our system down. But for us, and that's why, by the way, and we can get into this, our course, the part for couples, like perfect for us, talking about you and Mark managing your money. But let me give you an example, guys, of something that seems to be a great idea at first, but really you need to have a better system. And that is when it comes to paying off credit card debt. When I was a financial planner, I would meet with people and they have all this credit card debt at 21%. And I'd say, how have you been trying to solve that? And they'd say the obvious thing, which makes sense. Hey, Joe, it's 21%. So I take every dollar that I have and I pay it toward the debt, every single dollar. And I'll ask them, how long have you been doing that for? And often, no joke, they'll say 20 years. You know, I've never been able to solve it. It's been 20 years. That's why I'm finally talking to you. And I tell them, okay, here's the answer. we're not going to pay off all that debt at once. We're going to take some money and we're going to set it into a savings account. And they will immediately, their mathematical brain will start working and they'll go, oh, you know what? I see where you're coming from. It's because it gets a higher interest rate. And I'll go, no, it gets a crappy interest rate. It's going to earn like nothing. It's going to sit there earning nothing. And they're like, so let me get this straight. I'm not going to pay down my 21% credit card debt. I'm going to sit it in a savings account, earning nothing. Yeah. And then I'll say yes. And they'll go, well, that doesn't make any sense. And I'll say, well, wait a minute. What is it? What is it that actually ruins your plan? Because your plan should be working. It should be hitting on all. Why is your plan not working?
Yeah.
And they'll say, well, something always comes up. Either the muffler's dragging behind the car, and then I got to go back into credit card debt, or the dishwasher just broke last week. So that's like something always comes up. Kid goes to a birthday party. That's not happening anymore. Right. Hooray for COVID.
A present to a Zoom party. You got that going for you. Yeah.
Right. So there's always something that comes up. Then I would always answer, we have two choices. If you're going to do that strategy where every dollar goes toward the credit card, you have to make sure nothing comes up until it's paid off. Right. Wait a second. There's no way that's going to, or we can take some money and we can set it aside. And instead, when something comes up, because as you know, Belinda, the problem isn't the credit card. The problem is you.
Right.
And when
it
you
feels like there's a gremlin or, someone is over there spending on your credit card, but it's actually you. Like there's no other person out there. Right. It's those subscriptions you signed up for forever ago that you forgot about. Like it's all those things.
And that's where having a system, and that's why I love this course so much, having a system. So anyway, that's just an example from a financial planner. And people need to even get to that step where they can have that system, because a lot of people can't even have that system because they're not sure where their money's even going.
Right. Right. So I mean, right away, like in week 1, so it's a 4-module course. It's available on an app on your phone. It's on the desktop. Like we make it super easy to consume it. I'm not trying to make the shelf help. Like we actually want you to take action with this. And, one of the key things that we have to do is just get you out of some of that avoidance of like, oh, I don't want to look at it, or I'm afraid to look at it. Because if you don't look at it, it's not getting better, but it's likely getting worse. Right. And so it's really about taking that step back and being like, okay, I thought ignorance was bliss. Ignorance is actually super stressful. It's not getting me where I want to go. I don't want to work until I die. I'm really tired of this paycheck to paycheck. And we do talk, I think it's in module 2 and some in 3, about the idea of creating the reserve, like what you're talking about, and really making the initial changes to create. I mean, we're talking like, on the low end, I'd say $200 a month, but more like $500 to $1,000 a month for you. And we're only a one-time investment. So somebody joked to me, they're like, you should just take a percentage of all the money you're helping people make. I was like, well, then I'm kind of disincentivizing them to save money. So I don't want to do that. But the point here is that you make an investment once, you learn what you need to learn, and then you make the changes for yourself so that you keep more money every month. And the other thing I will say is, we generally focus on you keeping more money, but that when you take control of your finances in this way, that you're often making more money too, because you don't feel ashamed. You're not spending a lot of energy on what you're avoiding, on where you're not with your money. And it really does free people up. Like we just had a client I think it was Thursday, and she said, I just signed 4 more clients. I'm like, well, why do you think she signs 4 more clients? Well, it's because she's like, now I can feel good about my money. I can feel like I can bring in more money and I can be a good steward of it, right? Like I'm going to do the right thing instead of feeling like I don't trust myself with it, right? Or I can't be trusted with my money, which is where a lot of people spend a lot of time. And money can absolutely be a tool for you in your life, but only if you make it so. Right? Only if you know what you're doing with it and you know where it's going, how much is coming in, how much do you want to go out, and you become a lot more intentional about it. And I'm not talking about like eating ramen noodles. Like that is not the solution.
It's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable. It's really about creating that sustainable solution for yourself instead, right? Creating the one where we save the money on the insurances, or we save the money, and I'll give you like all of the places that you can go and look. We make the changes once, and then we know exactly what we need to be focused on. And so it really takes so much of the mystery out of our money management every month. And as a part of it, we can work through any debt payoff plans that you have. Like, Lord knows, I have worked through more of those than I can count. And oftentimes we're taking it from 36 years, you'll have this paid off, to less than 3 without needing to do a debt settlement company or other of the debt management plans. Like, what's key to being able to pay off your debt is to being able to find that extra cash right now. And in a lot of ways, because we're not eating out as much, because we're not going out as much, it is such a prime time to really take a look at this, and for us to be creating some extra cushion for you, building up that retirement fund, paying down that debt, like doing those things that you're like, oh, I'll do them someday. And then you realize that, you know what, Joe, someday is not a day of the week. It doesn't go like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, someday. Oh, today's the day I get to do it now,
Oh,
right? Oh, yeah. That's not how it works, right? And so what I really want to do is I want to make that someday now. We're going to just get it done. And I used to say, like, pull off the Band-Aid and do it. But honestly, that feels like it's almost a painful thing. Once you
yeah,
get through like the first 20 minutes of module 1, you're going to be like,
it's
oh,
better.
this isn't so bad. Like, I
Yeah.
don't need to be stressing about it,
No, it's
and
funny.
then you get to claim your own financial power.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well, and I was thinking about that when you were talking, and you were saying that people feel so much better when you actually look at it.
Yeah.
People used to tell me that when I was a financial planner, that they'd say, one guy put it, Art was such a cool guy. He said, Joe, I have to tell you, I would meet my clients every 6 months, and then we talk a few times, between that. But he'd say, every time I come in here, it feels like I'm going to the dentist. He goes, but much like the dentist, when I get done and my teeth feel great, he
Yeah.
goes, I come out here and I feel great about my money because I'm
Right.
actually on top of it. And I looked at it and I know what I'm doing. But instead of, and my thought was, and I actually said this to Art, I'm like, why do you wait for our meetings to feel great? Like, why
Yeah.
don't we got to
Because he
figure out
hasn't
how to
made
have
money
you.
easy yet with us, apparently. Yeah.
Yeah, we got to figure out how you can feel great about it, but before then,
Mm.
feel great in those moments when you're out to dinner with people. And guys, I remember these feelings. I'm out to dinner with people, and I've got the credit card, and I'm wondering, I do not want the credit card to not go through in front of my friends. Like,
Mm.
I know that I shouldn't be out at dinner. I know
Mm.
I'm making a mistake. I have no idea where my money is, but I'm still out doing the wrong thing. And all I want to do is save myself the embarrassment of not having my credit card not go through in front of people. Those days suck.
Yeah.
Those days absolutely.
Yeah. Or the cashier, right? Or at the store,
Yes.
like the restaurant. Like we want you to be able to order on a menu from the left, not from the right. Like, we want you to be able to do the things you want to do when you want to do them without feeling this constraint, right? Without feeling like, oh God, should I be here? Should I be spending this much? Right? We want you to be able to spend on the things that really matter to you.
I'm looking for this because I have this credit card. I was looking to see if it had my number on the front. It doesn't. So
So
this credit card
we have
needs
the
a
same
new
one.
chip.
Yeah.
Needs a new chip right here. And
Uh-oh.
so
That's a well-used card.
yesterday when I was at the when we were buying that my coffee maker, this chip would not read. And I know it's because the thing, you can see it's all beat up. The credit card's all beat up, and I just need a new one. I had a flashback to 20 years ago when closer to 25 years ago, when my credit really sucked. Cause I'm telling the cashier, I'm like, oh, it's the chip. Oh, I know. Look at the chip is bad.
Couldn't be. Couldn't be me.
But in this case, it totally was the chip. And, but I did have this flashback where I'm going, no, I'm not a reprobate. Then I knew I was, right. Then I knew that I was horrible with money, but having to play that game at all is not great. All right. So
no, it's tough. And we just don't want that for you anymore. I think people get very resigned about it. They think like, oh, I guess this is how it has to be with the amount of money that I'm making.
You talked about going through some of the main places, Belinda, where you can save money, and you mentioned insurances. I'm assuming then insurances is a big one where people can save some money.
Yeah, the overall thing is one, like literally in week 1, we're going to have you figure out, like, how do you find your money? Where has it really been going to, right? But then as a part of it, when you learn how to live within your means, and I don't even love that title, because oftentimes we need to expand your means potentially to be able to save more, but we can't do anything until we actually know our numbers. Like, can you imagine a super successful person, a millionaire, whatever you view as like success in this money realm, not knowing their numbers? Like, it's just not really going to happen,
Sure.
like, because they're not going to be able to get there unless they took some steps that move them in that direction. But so your point about insurance is, it's like you need to know where your money's been going. And then I basically push you a little bit to look at what you may have termed fixed expenses before and say, well, is that really fixed? Or do I actually have more say in it than I realize?
Because like
Insurance is a great example like that.
we do call the cell phone bill a fixed expense.
Yeah, but every time I call Verizon, they lower it by like 20, 40, 60, even $80. It's not actually fixed, but we tell ourselves fixed, and then we think, oh, I can't do anything about it. And our approach is actually pretty much every single line item that you're spending money on, you can, right? Maybe you're not going to negotiate down Netflix, but then you say, but am I really using it? Right. So we want to encourage you to look at some of these things. And then I just had a client, I had her look at tech subscriptions, and she was like, well, it's only this, but that it's only factor, particularly when it comes to personal finance, really adds up. So for her, it was like $110 on the business side, but that's over $1,000 in a year that she's
Wow.
basically wasting, because she's like, I don't even really use any of these. I didn't even, she's like, I'm sorry to say this, Belinda. Like, she felt bad because she just started me, and she's like, but I don't really look at that level of detail on my credit card bill. Like, a lot of people are looking at some of the big items, or they're just paying it and they're not really looking at the detail. So this is your opportunity to be able to make those one-time changes, to make the phone call that takes you 15 minutes, saves you $40 on that Verizon bill, but actually, what is it saving you over the year? Right? This is where you pull out your calculator and you're like, oh, wow, okay, well, $40. Yes, I know I have like a Mickey Mouse size calculator for my account days. Right. But that's almost $500 in a year in one phone call for 15 minutes. And like Verizon, for instance, they don't call you to say, oh, look, we have a better plan for you. Or, oh, look, you can get unlimited data now and stop paying those overages. Sometimes even, Joe, just paying attention to the flow of money, right? And like being aware of it and starting to put in a little, like my habit of, riding the Peloton every day. For some people, they need to just start looking. Okay. And I don't necessarily encourage people to like go into their bank account or credit cards every single day. That's not necessarily the recipe for success. But in the beginning, we might need to do that just to get you more comfortable with it, so it can feel like an easy habit when you go and check. Because I will say, a lot of people log in, and in the 2 seconds that it's loading are like, crap, I really hope there's money in there still. But sometimes if we can at least help you manage the flow, you're eliminating those overdraft charges. The $25, the $35 overdraft charges. I had somebody that when he sat down with the money making tracking worksheets, the same ones that we give you as soon as you enter this course, he was spending generally about $280 to $350 in overdraft charges every month.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the only way we could do that is if we could help him build up a little bit of a reserve, help him see that cup of coffee that he thought was $5 was actually a $30 cup of coffee. Right. Yeah. Probably wasn't that good. He could have had your machine probably for that much with your Bed Bath & Beyond coupon, right?
He would have my machine plus. It could have made French toast and coffee for that much money that he's saving.
Okay, that I'll eat. Yeah.
But that's that's a very interesting point. I mean, this all comes down to systematizing, right? It isn't about remembering. I think people think that it's, I got to remember to do this. I got to remember to do that. And we've had time management experts. Ashley Willens was just on from Harvard, and she was talking about how, our time is so confettied. And I love that term, that we've got these little pieces of time. And when we don't have systems in place to remember these frankly easy little things, we end up going like there was a squirrel out back just before this. Yeah, the squirrel darts one way, darts the other way, and he's all over the place. You don't want to be that squirrel. Instead, you need your brain to focus. And like Laura Vanderkam, as an example, another time management expert, says, your brain is like a battery and you only have so much life in it every day. And you get to a certain point where the batteries run down. You're like, I can't deal with this. I
Right.
can't do it
Decision
anymore.
fatigue kicks in and you're just done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's part of the habit, right? That's part of the like taking away the emotion, making it much more black and white, and creating an easy habit around having some structure to be able to create the wealth that you want. Like, we don't want you to work until you die. Like, we don't want you to to rely on social security, to feel like your financial future is out of your hands. It's our job right now to put it back into your hands. And if we don't, like, where are you going to be? We haven't opened up this course since January. We don't know when we're going to be opening up again. So, like, this is your chance to finally take control, right? For you to realize that it doesn't have to be so complicated. That's how we call it, making money easy, right? You can add in the systems and the automation. You can get going. And the modules are very step by step. You have them right on your phone, you have them right on your computer. And yes, we are taking away your excuses of like, I don't know what I'm doing, and maybe taking away a little bit of the like blame you have for your parents or for somebody else who never taught you how. But we all have that possibility to stay in the reasons why we don't have what we want in our life, or the flip side, which is we can have the results that we actually want. And that's what we want to do. We want to give you that easy path to get there. And honestly, we even priced it so that it was a super easy no-brainer yes for you to say, okay, let me get this straight. So within a month, I can make back my whole investment maybe 5 or 10 times. And it's like, yes, that's what we're saying. It is possible. With one insurance call, we could get you down. But the thing is that, like, you're likely not going to be doing it on your own, right? Because it's like, what got you here will not get you there. And we believe that, well, I'll speak for myself. I believe that maybe it hasn't been enough of a priority for you right now, or other things have felt like they're more important. But this needs to take priority if you ever want to be able to create something different. If you ever want to create a better solution for yourself, we need to just prioritize it now, make those changes, make those calls, and give you the system to be able to do something different, so that if you are joining us in a year or 3 years or 5 years, you can instead report, hey, now I'm saving, an extra $5,000 every year. Like, look, I'm funding my Roth IRA. Couldn't do that before, right? Or I'm maxing out my 401k or whatever that is. But we need to take an action, and we need to take an action today so that we can create something better for your future.
Little wins that build into big wins as the days and months and years go on. Let's dive into the 4 modules just briefly, Belinda. So people join us for these next few weeks. Let's talk about what they get. Module 1, we went into a little bit, but let's round it out. What's module 1 all about?
Sure. So module 1 is all about finding your money, right? Because it just feels like this big mystery. I don't really know where it goes every month. I don't know. It goes, I spend it, I guess, and there's just a lot of like uncertainty about it that we just don't really know or understand. And so I give you a very straightforward, non-judgmental money tracking process so that you can like work through where it's gone, and you can start to realize that you can actually control where you want it to go going forward. And I think that is an important piece of the first one. But it just says, okay, great, these are my numbers, and it's my job to make it more black and white for you so that you don't have to live in that confusion of like, where did it go? Okay, number 1. Now, and I do give you templates for all of this. So if you feel like, oh gosh, like a blank sheet of paper just feels too scary or uncertain or whatever, I got you covered. We have a really helpful template that hundreds, if not thousands of people have used by this point and totally love. And I also do talk a little bit about that mindset piece. Like, how do you tap into that unconscious spending you're doing? How do you stop those self-sabotaging behaviors too? Now, number 2 is where we really start to build that cushion savings you were talking about, right? Like the savings that has us not get into debt in the future, right? That has us realize that, okay, these are my options when my expenses are exceeding my income. And I start to show you where some of that extra cash is hiding, right? Like, where has it been? And how do you start to reclaim it once you know what are those key areas where you have the money leaks, right? Where the money is going out and you just don't really even realize it. And maybe you're not even getting a return for it. Like, I had somebody who used this tracking sheet And she gave me a little red flag somewhere where she was like, well, sometimes on my way home from work, I'd have a little extra time. So I'd stop off at like Target or CVS or Target, sorry, or CVS back in the day when we could shop freely. And maybe she's saving money now that she can't. Although I have a feeling that she might have gone online shopping if we hadn't stopped this habit.
No,
And so
there's always a course to get.
yeah. And then that's why we had to like cut off that path. But when we added up her miscellaneous, it was over $1,000.
There it
Right?
is.
We thought it was like 200. It was like boom. Right? And that's where our mental math is often so different than what's actually happening. So in that module 2, we're going to really start to figure it out and figure out how you can enjoy your life and build the cushion savings. So we need to tap into the why, like what do you really want money for? And then week 3, we talk about why a plan beats a budget. And really there are pitfalls to the typical budgeting that a lot of people don't stick to it, right? They get to this place where they're depriving, and then they want to indulge. So we need to show you, okay, where can you indulge safely and still save, right? Because once we know what's really important, and then I give you some little hacks in there, like key questions to ask yourself. How do you know what your return on investment is? When is it good to use your credit card or when is it not? And how do we set aside a real clear percentage of our income that you want to be saving? And then here, I take that same worksheet and I like add a few levels to it. I enhance it to give you a real saving and spending plan template. So we don't even need to get into like a huge app. I do talk about apps that you could use, but just on the most basic level, you can be making these changes and taking these steps without even needing to be loading a fancy app, right? Because a lot of these things need to be happening right away. Gertrude says, I want to build my cushion savings. Oh, good. I'll talk to your boss.
Well, hey, wait a minute. Part of this course is not going and getting a raise. That's not.
It could be. People do that, I will say.
Look at the time, Belinda. We got to keep moving.
Exactly. But then we talk about, when we move on to 4 here, it's about creating systems that work all year long. And I talk about money dates, kind of like what you were saying, right, that you do with Cheryl, is like, how do you create money dates for yourself every week or every month so that and then what do you do on the money date? So I actually give you a checklist so you know what you need to be doing. And a lot of people just have a lot of paper everywhere. So I actually tell you, like, how do you organize it? How do you set up a filing system? How do you organize it so that and then the last piece is how do you automate it? So that you can spend less time thinking about it each month. You continue making money from the program. I even give you some hacks on how do you make sure your bills are paid on time every month, right? Because I think that a lot of people end up having fees and they just feel ashamed about it because they just don't have a handle. So it's very straightforward. 1, 2, 3, 4. We give it to you each week so that you don't get overwhelmed. We have workbooks. We have these templates. Like it's very like paint by number is the word I think I use, right? It's like very step by step. And then in week 5, so you'll have a forum, a Facebook group to be able to ask your questions every week, every day. Whenever you have a question, I am in there answering them for you. But then moreover, on week 5, we're going to go live on a Zoom call, which when we started, it was a unique thing. Now literally our 5-year-old.
Everybody knows how to do that.
Everyone
That's
knows
old hat.
But they don't all have me on their Zoom to come on live and to answer your questions, right? So you can say, hey, I'm spending too much money here. So what do I do about that? And I have helped so many people over the last 13 years to be able to, probably even prior, I'm always like that big sister, like that friend. It's like, Belinda, can you help me figure out what I do here? I'm still that person among my friend group. And so anyway, I want to get those questions answered, because what happens sometimes is that you figure things out up to a certain point and then you stop, right? So you get blocked. It's like you don't know the answer. You don't know who to ask. You don't want to seem stupid and ask your accountant or your financial advisor. So you don't ask, and then you don't make any changes. You just stop yourself. So I am going to be there in week 5 to make sure that you have nothing in your way to make all of the changes that you want to be making.
And let's be clear too, if you've got questions along the way, people shouldn't save it for week 5. You're always open for emails and
they just post it right into the group, and then everybody can chime in and support you as well. So if you're like, oh, I'm really struggling with groceries. Well, we have a whole section on groceries inside the program. but we can also crowdsource ideas from each other, for instance, right? Or
Yeah.
whatever the thing is, we're going to be there to support you through it. And for some people, it is income. So I actually do a lot of income growth coaching too, business growth coaching too. If you're in a job, if you have a business, to be able to figure out how do you stop leaving money on the table, and how do we ask for that raise? How do we do the thing that we need to do, even in this economy? Like, absolutely, people are still getting raises right now. People are becoming more valuable than ever and becoming more valuable at home.
Sure.
Right?
No, we just had, it's interesting. We had Ramit Sethi on the show, Mr. I
Yeah.
Will Teach You to Be Rich, talking
Yeah.
about, man, if this is a great time to start a new business,
Mhm.
assuming, by the way, that you're able to keep your, obviously there's people that are really hurting right now,
Mhm.
but if you're lucky enough to not be one of those people, great time to start a business, great time to find new money, great time, because if you're lucky enough to be healthy and moving right now, you can also help other people and people that need help. You can be a valuable resource to other people. So there's lots of things that you can do.
Absolutely. And I think that in a lot of ways, when we don't have our time on the commute, right? Or we aren't doing as much things going out as we have in the past, like now is actually a great time. I mean, we're talking like an hour or two a week max. So if you look at, okay, in a given day, you have 24 hours, right? In a given week, you have 168 hours. You got to find one, maybe two of those, right? To be able to do the lessons that I give you and then move forward with the action steps that you have. Like, you
I,
have that time. Absolutely.
I like getting back to the coaching. I like what Gertrude is saying right here in the
Mhm.
chat. Group support so helpful, takes a village. You know, this is kind of a masculine example that I'm about to give, but a mentor of mine, Belinda, talked about how wolves pack hunt, and
Yep.
individually, a wolf on its own will die. But
Mm.
wolves as a group do very well together. We were out at the Channel Islands on our tour of national parks recently, and we would always find these groups of dolphins. And usually when you found them, there were a bunch of birds right over top of where the dolphins were. Because what the dolphins will do, they'll go around this school of fish and they will, as a group, go in a
Corral
circle
them
around the
almost.
fish, and
Mhm.
they'll surround them, and they'll get these fish all tightly packed in, and then one by one they'll go through and they'll slap their tail to stun the fish,
Oh,
and
wow.
the fish then go to the top and the dolphins eat, but then all the fish eat. It becomes like this buffet for everybody. It's a great day to
The
be
birds are
anybody but
coming
a
down, the
fish.
dolphins. Yeah, there's
Right, right. So working together, the dolphins are able to do things they wouldn't do. They could chase fish around all day, but as a group, they're able to make sure that they eat. And as a
yeah, it's so true. And I think that gets back, kind of circles back to where we had started around accountability, right? That, like, when you're just left on your own, pretty much anything else can feel more fun than looking your money, than trying to figure out where it all went, right? And so that's part of the easy, is that we actually also make it fun, right? We come together and we make it a safe place to celebrate the progress that you're making. Because a lot of times, like, when people pay off debt, you don't have a place to shout from the rooftops, "Hey, I just paid off $20,000 in debt." And everyone's gonna be like, "You were in $20,000 in debt," right? So it's like we just don't. We post a lot of things on Facebook and Instagram. We're not posting that. Whereas this is the group that you can be like, "Hey, I just worked out a debt payoff plan. I'm going to have this
yes,
thing paid off in 15 months." Like, that's where, this is our safe space to be able to celebrate those wins. And you'll see when you go to the page. I mean, there's so many people that have. I actually just um, I'm just prepping. I actually am going to be doing a webinar on the anti-budget solution. I just pulled out my binder. I have like pages and pages. You probably can't see it. It says MME wins, like pages and pages of wins of people that are like, "I just finished listening. I'm very thankful for all the tracking, the worksheets, the handouts, the website links. Thank you. Thank you." Okay. So this one says, "I found money, $380. I reduced my phone bill, $350 savings. I reduced this, $90 by the end of the year. Reduced my grocery bill, $150. Negotiate a vendor bill down, saved $100. Like, I mean, pages and pages and pages of wins here. These are all like clips from, the group, like Facebook clips.
that's awesome.
But there's a bunch more in here to be able to make the changes, and I just want you to think, like, if you don't do this, what are you going to do? Because the question is not, do you need to look at your money? Do you need to figure out a way to uncomplicate money for yourself? The answer is an absolute yes. So it's like, if you're not going to do it with us here, what are you going to do? Oh, and oh my God, we almost forgot to tell them that until tomorrow night, Tuesday night, I am giving you guys a special bonus, right?
That's where I was going next. Nice
Oh,
job.
good. Okay, well, you can go there.
No, go ahead. Do it.
So what I decided to do to give you a little bit of extra incentive, because I absolutely reward action, and you will see that a lot inside the group. I am giving a customized anti-budget review, I call it, but it's basically where you're going to fill out the tracking worksheet, and I'm going to give you 3 to 5 immediate action steps that I want to see you take, because I have looked at hundreds, maybe thousands of these worksheets. So I just can zero right in on this is where you're overspending. This is what has to change. And so you'll be able to just jump in and get that. And we just had somebody sign up actually while we were talking. Welcome, Jennifer. So
Nice.
maybe you're watching with us. So let us know.
Congratulations, Jennifer, on taking control. Because it also is not, by the way, and don't get me wrong, there are going to be things in here that you don't know, but it also is never about what you know. It's about what you do. I've seen so many with people with great business ideas with, we always joke, Belinda, about this fictional guy, Earl in Peoria, who can't zip up his own pants, but he knows exactly everybody's problem on Facebook and can solve everybody's problem. Right. Never solves his own problem, but can solve everybody else. So Earl in Peoria, which by the way, was funny that I've gotten emails from people in Peoria saying, we're really nice people, actually. and we're probably smarter.
We're good. Yeah.
I got to change where Earl's from. I think Peoria is a nice place, but anyway, and I wish this were, I wish the font on here were different, but it's actually to sign up like Jennifer did. It's stackybenjamins.com/easy. Mm-hmm. It's not ease, as you'll see. It's going to scroll here in a second.
I can see it on mine. I'm on
Oh,
Facebook. Good. Yeah.
Good. Because I can't make that smaller. On mine, it goes EASY on the next line. So stackybenjamins.com/easy. Remember, you want to sign up by tomorrow. If you are not able to sign up by tomorrow, you won't get the early bird bonus, but you will still be able to get in until Friday night.
Friday, and then we close it.
Mm-hmm. Friday night, it's gone again, and I have no idea. We said back in January, Belinda, that we were going to open this up in like June or July, and then this strange things happened.
Yeah. Exactly.
So we have no idea. I lost your audio, by the way. I don't think I have you anymore.
No, I'm still here. You can't hear me anymore?
Belinda is gone.
Am I back? Okay, hold on. Really? Okay. How about now?
But I think that we are about done anyway. So unless people have a last second here where they can ask questions, you do have a question. We've got Belinda here. We're happy to take questions about the course. And if not, then we're going to call it a day. And I still don't have you. There's a little gear down there, and somehow I don't know what changed, Belinda, but I go because I think we're done. But
how about now?
Just want to hold out for just one more second.
Okay, everyone else, let us know. Can you hear me? Oh, Gertrude's joining us. I love it. Can anybody else hear me? No.
That's weird. Okay. Sorry. Well, that's good anyway. We made it through. stackybenjamins.com. You can hear. Okay. I'm the only one that can't hear. So Belinda, is it okay if we just sign off? Because I guess my audio's done. All right. Geez, Belinda, I'm Joe. Go sign up. stackybenjamins.com/easy. Do it by Tuesday night, and you'll get the early bird bonus. See you guys.
Awesome. Thank you. Bye.